Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well today. I'm always hoping you're doing well today. I say it in every single video. So hopefully, if you haven't been having the best days, hopefully today is your day or this week is your week. But as you guys know, in the last video, we went over some banking information, right? We went over a video where we were talking about what to look for in a bank and when to know when to leave a bank, when to know not to leave a bank. So this is going to be a follow-up vid and say, okay, well, what bank should I choose in E? So this is what this video is going to be for. We're going to go over 4 banks today. Just to put it out there now, there are more than 4 good banks. Just these banks I feel confident talking about. I don't want to just. So we're going to talk about these 4 banks. Now, I will be honest again. I'm really confident on 2 of these banks. The other 2 is just gonna give you kind of a summary because they are good, and I can't deny that they're good. And I'm not gonna just shade them because I don't know everything about it. And again, I'm gonna give you some information as I always do because again, I just want to inform you guys. And then, like I said, I expect you guys to then go out yourselves and dig further. Okay, that's how I want to set up the vid so you guys can dig further for information, but you get the idea. It becomes conscious in your mind to start thinking about these things. But the first bank is the bank that you guys always hear me talk about. Discover It Online Savings Account. Now, yes, that is the bank that I'm with. And no, I'm not trying to tell you guys, hey, just do the bank I'm with. Yes, I'm a little bit biased, but not like completely biased where I'm like trying to get you guys to join it. I always say look at other options. One thing I love about Discover, when you look up Discover's online savings account, it shows you other banks. Like it compares it. Alright, it compares the bad banks, but it also compares the good banks, the other banks that even have higher APYs. And that's something that I can appreciate, that they're giving the option like, hey, I want the best for you. I'm showing you the good side, and I'm showing you an even better side. That's something I can appreciate. Of course, they want you to go with Discover, but just showing me these other options and showing me how, okay, the bank I'm currently with, okay, I understand what the ideas of why a high yield savings account is so important because this bank really ain't paying me nothing, right? But let's get down to it. And you're probably thinking, yeah, I get it. Yeah, all right, like what about this bank? I'm sorry. All right, the first thing you need to know, well, they have a 3.6% APY currently. It might go up, it might go down. I'm expecting it to go up, honestly. But again, don't quote me on that. Please do not quote me on that. But currently, it's a 3.6 APY, which is very good. It's not the highest on the list at all, but that's very good. 3.6 is amazing to have. There is no monthly fees, as we said in the last video. We don't want any fees. There is no fees on the account at all. And there's no minimum deposits. Great, perfect. Like, there's no minimum deposit to get that APY. There are certain banks that you have to have a certain amount of money to get up to that APY, which isn't terrible in any shape, any way. I don't think that's terrible. But it's very beneficial that you don't have to worry about any minimum deposits or, any fees, right? So that's why it's the number 1 on our list. Not like it's the best one, but like the first one I'm talking about. Because again, I bank with them, and I'll tell you the only con to me, is that they don't have any physical locations. But so it can make it a little bit difficult when it comes to like taking out money. But I say this to you, okay? And it's just a tip of advice, kind of what I do. Look at that online savings account as what it is, a savings account. So if you do need to keep a separate checking account with another bank, okay, still make sure it's a good bank. All right, we don't just say, oh yeah, I'm gonna keep my bank that's bad just for this reason. No. Still want a good bank, but you can just separate it. That way you can get that money. Now, we'll see. You might have to wait a couple days for, of course, to transition over. That's why I say plan ahead of things and, be aware of when you're going to spend money. So I get to track and plan ahead. So keep your savings in that savings account. And then if you do need to go out and, let's say, take out some money, okay, send it over to your other account. And then you can get your money that way. Okay, you might have to wait a couple days, but again, if you plan ahead, you won't have to worry about waiting or something happens too late. So I would say that's the only con. Now with ATMs, it's good because with a lot of these banks, since with Discover doesn't have a physical location, you're probably thinking, well, how do I do anything with money then, Elijah? Well, beware. You can go to the ATMs, right? And there's ATMs that work with it, and there won't be any fees on those ATMs. They have a location map where you just put in your location, and then it'll show you the ATMs that are good for them and the surrounding area. Better yet, if there is none, I believe they cover up to $10 in fees for the billing cycle, right? So I think that's about a month. That's really what it is. So every month they'll pay up to $10. Let's say you're just in the middle of nowhere and it's an ATM. If it's like a $2 or $4 fee, they'll cover that up again up to $10, which is good to me that they'll even cover it at all. Like I said in the last video, Charles Schwab, which is not the best for like the saving side of it, but they pay it completely. There's other banks that don't pay it at all, but with Discovery, again, they pay up to $10 each cycle. And how often are you gonna keep needing to go to the ATM anyway, right? So again, just something to think about. All right, the Discover rate again, 3.6 APY, no monthly fees, great customer service. It's a great choice. Now the next bank that we're going over is the Capital One 360 savings account. That is also a great bank. That's even like we said with Discover, where you could pair having a checking and then having your savings separate. This is a great bank to do that with. Okay, you could literally have your Capital One checking account and your Capital One savings account where, oh, almost forgot, they have a 3.5% APY, which is not 3.6, but that is still very good. So not only do they have also competitive APY rates. Now, to be very clear, the checking does not have the 3.5, just the savings, but even their checking has a pretty decent APY. It's a lot better than, again, your traditional banks. And this way you do what I said to do with your Discover, where you have your savings, right? And if you do need to access money or transition money over, you can just put it over to your savings if need be. It's a lot easier this way. It's nothing complicated. There's also, again, no monthly fees, no minimum deposits, and they also have a large networking system with their ATMs. Okay, again, it's the same idea where you can access different banks. Even if it's not directly says Capital One, you can still use it. Now, I will admit, I do not know how they do their reimbursements like I do with Discover. Again, I'm actually with Discover, so I have a bit more information with Discover than I do have with Capital One. But again, nothing wrong with just taking a quick Google search. Again, I love to give you guys a summary information, but again, I want you guys to want to go out and search for yourselves. So again, 3.5 APY, no monthly fees, no minimum deposits. Also, good customer service, right? So that's a great bank to go with. You can pair it with the checking. That way you don't have to worry about, oh, what am I going to do? Right? The only cons I would say, again, is like Discover. Well, they do have branches. Discover doesn't have branches, but Capital One does have branches, but they're very limited. So that's really the con of it all, that your branches are unlimited with Capital One. Most of these online banking systems are going to traditionally have limited banking. That's going to be the con for most of them, where you can't just go in like you typically would with your traditional bank, which I understand for some people that's really important to them. But I asked them, what is more important, having a good banking system or going into a crappy bank, right? So that's just something to think about. I'm going to go over it one more time. 3.5 APY, no minimum deposits, no checking. I mean, not no checking. No monthly fees. It's a really good bank. Again, it's not the 3.6, but it's a great bank. If you are with Capital One 360 Savings, you have a Capital One checkings account, you're good in my book. That is a great step in the right direction. Also, another con is their CD rates, which I didn't go into with Discover. I think Discover has pretty good CD rates, but Capital One's CD rates are kind of average, which average isn't terrible to be honest with you. But if you're someone who thinks about CDs, which is a certified deposit, that's a fixed rate for those who do not know. So let's say you put $1,000 on a APY of let's say at 3.5, right? But that 3.5 is for like 6 months or something like that, right? So that money is locked away, gains a certain amount of interest every few months, and that's kind of what a certified deposit is. It's supposed to be locked away, but technically you could take money out, but there's a penalty for that, so don't do that. So think of not APY. Think of a CD as blocking your money away and letting it get a fixed rate of interest, which has its pros and cons to that. That's why I don't really talk about CDs that much. I have a few CDs of my own, and no, we're not talking about CDs you put into a car, of course. All right, but again, their certified deposits are kind of average, which you take with that what you want. But again, it's a very good bank to have. I would suggest it to anyone, just like I would just suggest Discover. Oh, before I forget, something that you can do with both of them, Discover and Capital One, is you can do mobile deposits. I didn't mention that, but that's also a good thing. It's a mobile deposit, mobile like check deposits that you can do with these banks. So if you're working, you're probably thinking, oh, can I connect with a bank? Yes, you can. Okay, that's just a quick disclaimer. You can. It is very easy. It's nothing complicated. So you're insured there. Now the next one is gonna be Ally Bank. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but that's how I pronounce it. But Ally Bank, it's an online, like this is a completely online banking system. Also Discover it was an online banking system as well, just to put that out there. But it's completely online, meaning that the mobile app, they have a very good mobile app. It's, if you want to do banking online and do it through your phone, this is also a perfect bank to go with. They have the second highest, I know I'm kind of spoiled, they had the second highest APY on this list with APY of 3.75, right? So that was higher even than the Discover It. Okay, there is no monthly fees. Now, a quick con is there is overdraft fees. Now, something like the Discover It didn't have any fees at all, right? They just wouldn't allow you to do that. But there is overdraft fees on Ally Bank. I say that's a quick con. Of course, I said they don't have physical branches, which is also a con. But again, they have 24-hour customer service, so if there's ever an issue, it's very convenient for you because you can contact them at any time. That's a wonderful feature to have. No one's gonna complain about 24-hour customer service, right? So that's very good. Again, the APY is amazing. I will be honest, I don't have as much to say about Ally Bank, mainly because one, I don't have them, and two, as I said, I know more about Capital One and Discover. But I did find Ally Bank and I said, okay, this is a good bank that I would suggest to people. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. Now, I will say, from what I've read on it, there is like a certain amount of like accounts that you can have, from what I read, which may be an issue for some people. But I will say this, typically, like with how I do my accounts, I don't have that many accounts, so I could go with Ally Bank if I really wanted to. But that's just something to look out for if you're someone who wants multiple accounts, or if you're someone who wants to go into a physical bank. Again, Ally Bank may not be the right bank for you, so that's just something to think about. But again, no monthly fees, 24-hour support, and a 3.75 APY. All right, you can't beat that. Well, the next one can beat that. Now, that one bank that outcompetes, at least on this list, Ally Bank for APY, is Sofi, which is up to 4% APY. In fact, check me on this again. Like I say every day, I want you guys to dig further into these things, but I believe there is a certain amount that you have to contribute to get that APY. I think that's why they say it's up to 4 point. I'm just assuming that. I mean, that's what correlates in my mind. If you say up to, that means that there's a catch. But it is a really good bank. Now, something you need to know with SoFi is you're automatically getting a checking and a savings account, right? So you're not just getting the savings, you're getting the checking part of it as well. But when you set up direct deposit, you get paid up to 2 days earlier. Something that Capital One does as well. I forgot to mention that, but Capital One does the same thing. When you set up direct deposit, you get paid 2 days earlier. So that's just something to remember with Capital One. But SoFi is a really good bank. Again, it comes back to what I said with Discover, where, I said, connected to another checking. Well, with Capital One and SoFi, you're getting both, okay? Or you can have both. So it's perfect for that idea. Again, great APY, up to 4%. That's amazing, okay? Now, they have a lot of bank options. I mean, not bank options, ATM options, which is also a great pro to have. Again, if you just need to get somewhere, bam, you just go to an ATM. Again, it's the same idea where there's going to be like a map, and then you'll see which ATMs work with them. Again, like the other one, I don't know how much they insure, if they insure anything at all for ATMs that aren't with them. I only know with Charles Schwab, which isn't on this list at all, and Discover It. Now, I have both of them, so that's why I know that. So, again, that's something I would look at the website and figure out. Again, there's no harm in just doing a quick Google search. Okay, now when it comes to cons, I will say because there's no monthly fees, but there is a fee for like cash deposit. That is a con. If you want to do like cash deposits, then you have to pay a certain fee, which is not good. But again, the APY makes up for it. The branches make up for it. The features make up for it. You get a checking and a savings, but that's just something to look out for. Okay, yeah, you get that APY, but if you don't want to pay for cash deposits, then SoFi may not be for you. Okay. Now I hate that Sofi and Ally were just so short. There, I'm telling you, look up Sofi on YouTube. There are gonna be plenty of people who can give you a bigger and a more in-depth review of them. I was able to tell you more about Capital One and Discovery because those are banks that I bank with myself. Well, not Capital One, but I know personally more. But again, those four banks are still very good options. If it were up to me, because I know them the most, I would be biased and say either Capital One or Discover, because those are the simple options. Like, not too complicated. It's simple. It's right there in your face. You know what you're getting, and that's perfect. That's how I like things. Okay. But that's it for the vid. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As I always say, if you got anything from this vid, please share it. Again, like I said in the last vid though, if you got any bank that has red flag, you might want to switch over to one of these banks instead. Alright? But please like and subscribe, comment down below anything, any questions, and even if you don't feel like going and searching up something, if you want me to search up something specifically for you, just comment it down, say, hey, can you look this up for me? Because I'm lazy, because that's pretty much what you're telling me. And I'll go out and do it, because, I'm a nice guy. But again, like, subscribe, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your week, and peace out.